Hey guys, welcome back to Behind the Apron podcast. I'm your host, Cassie, and this is Reality Check, Please. You guys, what a day. It's been crazy. Happy Tuesday. We got the great podcast of Keke Palmer with Chelley and Olandria, and we're going to get into all that today. We're going to take away the key points, what we've heard that we already haven't, and how they are feeling after the villa. One thing that I do have to point out though, at the very beginning, Keke does say or ask them, is this your first interview? And they say yes. So that gives me reason to believe that they filmed this about a week ago because Chelley and Olandria, at least Olandria, has already been on Chicks in the Office. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I haven't caught up with Nick Vile and the Vile Files, but I want to say they've done some more podcasts or at least more interviews. And they said that this was their first one. So that's very telling. Clearly, probably haven't already heard the Call Her Daddy podcast, given the timeline of when this was filmed. So we have to take that into consideration before we listen to this podcast and before you hear what I'm about to tell you as far as the recap. So get your drinks ready because it's going to be a good one. Before we jump in, I want to say thank you to each and every one of our new subscribers. If you are here, welcome. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop it down below in the comments. Once we reach 500, I'm going to have a serious conversation with Manny, my partner, who was doing Behind the Apron with me. This started off as a food service industry podcast. And when Love Island happened, he knows I'm a huge reality TV junkie. And when our platform kind of started growing with this content, we started to dive into Reality Check Please a lot more. So we're going to probably change it fully. Still have a few food service podcast episodes, but I want to know your ideas, your perspective, because at the end of the day, you're the ones joining us along for the ride. So drop all those comments down below. That being said, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Send this episode to somebody that you love, and let's get ready to clock in. One thing I do have to say is that Keke did an amazing job executing this podcast because what do you mean? We had two gorgeous girls. We got all the information that we wanted to, given the time frame of when this was actually recorded, and it was all at an hour and 5 minutes. She was quick. They had no time for bullshit. They had no time to give us word salads like Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy with Huda. Like, it makes sense. So Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper, take notes because this is how you interview. The first half of the hour, we just kind of got the stuff that we already knew, their POV of certain things. We know that Chelley already said that she feels like she won because she came home with a partner, somebody that she fell in love with. Not those words, but Love Island. Hello. And she found her person. And that's what Love Island is all about. So she feels like it was a bittersweet moment getting kicked off the villa, but she understood that's the name of the game. There can only be one winner. One thing I did want to point out that really caught me for a loop that I didn't know, and there's just so much, guys. Again, Chelley says they only show us 1 hour of their 24-hour day. So we obviously didn't see everything. What I don't remember seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Taylor to us was kind of checked out already during Casa, but apparently when he recoupled with Clark, even after the fact, he told Olandria that they were still going to explore each other. That is why during the Stand on Business challenge, she kind of let loose and she let him know how she felt because she was not seeing those actions, the actions behind the words that he was telling her. She even told Keke that had she known that he was not physically attracted to her from the very beginning, she would not be chasing that man. So there were certain things that were not communicated to her, which we as viewers know, but I just feel so bad for Landry because it cheated her out of her true experience. She could have easily coupled up with Jalen after that door challenge because we know that Taylor kind of performed a little bit better when he saw that he was actually a threat to the relationship. And so my heart breaks for Jalen in that sense because his experience was cut short, but I guess that's just the name of the game. We know what we're signing up for as viewers for Love Island, and unfortunately, some journeys are just cut short, unfortunately. But that does not mean that Jalen is not successful because we all saw the love that and the support that America had behind this man. So props to all of us because we did our job. One of the most important things that we are going to cover is the whole Nick Olandria and Cierra of it all. Keke asks Olandria, how did you really feel in that kiss during Casa? Because that was kind of the pivotal moment that made us kind of feel like this was forced when they did recouple towards the end. Because Olandria and Nick both said, this is just kind of like friend vibes. Olandria says that she was trying to be respectful towards Taylor and towards Cierra, and that Nick kind of reciprocated that feeling. They obviously had a lot going on with their original couple. Olandria did share that she knew how Cierra was feeling and she could not get her mind off of Nick in Casa. And so she did not want to contribute, I guess, to that mind fuck. I don't know. Or feed that insecurity or just cause pain to her friend. The girls did say that Chelley, Olandria, and Cierra were all real tight. So when Cierra got dumped from the villa, they really had no idea why. Production didn't share with them. And so it was very kind of like eye-opening for them. Chelley said that she still, when she got home, didn't really understand what was going on, which I feel like it was kind of easy to find because I was able to find it super fast as to why she was kicked off the island. Nonetheless, we find out in this podcast that Cierra has obviously unfollowed Nick. She has not reached out to Nick, but she has reached out to Chelley. She basically just said she misses them. She was sorry for how everything was handled and that she's been working so hard to better herself. Keke then asked Olandria, has she reached out to you? Olandria just says no. Then again, this was recorded, remember, I think about a week ago, considering it was their first interview. She says she doesn't know if Cierra has reached out because her DMs are just popping. She said that she would have to go check. And yeah, but Cierra has reached out to Chelley. So very interesting. We'll see how that goes. Keke then asks if they think that she will be at the reunion. I personally don't think so because they didn't have Kane last year. I don't think they're going to have Yulisa. I don't think that they'd have Cierra. Truthfully, that's just my opinion. Given the gravity of what Cierra did, who still doesn't matter if she apologized, yeah, it'd be sticky for them to invite her. Keke then asks the girls, what's your definition of a girl's girl? And they both kind of answered the same thing. Like, when a new girl comes in, we have your back, we stand by you, we support you, we respect your boundaries, we are here for you. So then we kind of head into the heart rate challenge, and Keke then reassures Chelley, I feel you, I am with you, I would have reacted 100% the same way, and we obviously didn't see what you guys saw. And so Chelley was kind of confused, like, what really happened that you guys saw, that you guys did not kind of feel that I was valid in what I was feeling? I personally was Team Chelley. I personally still am Team Chelley. The craziest part is that we see Huda tell Nick, I did too much. We see her tell Olandria, I did too much. Then we see her tell Chris, well, would it matter if I was ugly? So although Huda told the girls, I understand and I did too much, she's then telling Chris and trying to justify her actions that if she wasn't pretty, would it have mattered? And I think that that's where she kind of lost the plot. Chelley was kind of frustrated with the viewers and people who were attacking her, saying that she was doing too much and she wasn't valid in the way she was feeling, because Huda herself even admitted to like doing too much. The girls say that she was super apologetic afterwards. So she was kind of confused why some people didn't really have her back, or at least didn't give her her place in reassurance of feeling valid in the way she was feeling. Keke gave a great perspective. She says that although Huda may not have had bad intentions, Huda is the type of girl to kind of, I think, hone in on the experience and kind of lose herself and not realize the damage that she could be contributing to a friendship. Chelley then kind of reiterated the same thing. She said, I would not have put my friendship at risk for crossing a boundary. Keke then kind of laughs and she says, yeah, like with the whole Jeremiah thing, like you guys, we saw you guys walking on eggshells. She even felt like as America, some of us were walking on eggshells with Huda, because it was just like the way that Huda was just playing, and not just Huda, Jeremiah too. They were both claiming each other so hard, so fast at the very beginning that it kind of made the challenges unenjoyable, because then you can't really get to know everybody and explore everybody that early on. And it's just, in my opinion, no fun. Ariana even said it after the first After Sun. When you lock in so early, it's kind of a pet peeve because you're not supposed to be doing that. It's Love Island, okay? Not Lock In Island. Keke then kind of reiterates, like, I think that maybe Huda had a lapse of judgment and it clouds her because she wants to go all out for these challenges and then put her friendships at risk. And I agree. The girls then reiterated and kind of confirmed what we already knew, that the Stand on Business challenge did last about 6 or 7 hours, that it kind of went all throughout the night. And one more thing that they gave clarity on is that after that challenge, nobody walked away thinking that one person or the other did too much, that they all left with a lot of clarity. So for Huda to then kind of turn around and make herself the victim once again after the Stand on Business challenge, because we saw what she wrote about Grayson. We saw her in the confessional beforehand saying that she was going to stand on business and everybody better write their name. Then for her to kind of do what she did to Grayson was not cool. And given the fact that they haven't watched the episodes, I don't even think they know that she was the one that wrote that about Grayson. That's just clocking to me now. Then I'm not sure what happened after that moment in the podcast, because they pivot into a way where they're talking about reality TV and how it's changed over the years, and how now it's just so, people are so honed in on it, even like young kids, that the viewers become kind of like so unhinged. They brought up the whole like CPS thing. Chelley even said, like, I do not support that. I don't support the hate. I don't support what y'all are doing with the whole CPS thing. That is uncalled for. It's just, it's crossing the line. Keke, what I appreciated about her, she turned to the camera and she says, we can have an opinion, no tea, no shade. Like, there is no, we can be shady. We don't have to be harmful. And I love that, because she was letting everybody know that what we're doing to, I am no Huda fan. I will not be a Huda fan for probably a while, if ever. But calling CPS on her, and I've been very critical of Huda, but calling CPS on her, like, her baby daddy signed a waiver to let her go on Love Island. They knew what they were signing up for as far as like responsibility, that he was going to have to take care of their baby while she was gone. He gave her the green light, like, go have fun. So I appreciated that, because they did a lot more than Huda did. And this was recorded before Call Her Daddy. So take note. They then got into the whole Huda Jeremiah of it all. He asked them, was it as intense for you guys as it was for us watching? The girls said yes. It overwhelmed all of the Islanders and it consumed a lot of their time. I remember even, I think Nick or Cierra saying that it was kind of taking over their own experience, because they were always having to coddle Huda and just be there for her after she said that she had no one in that villa. That's beside the point. We then pivot to Clark and Olandria. Olandria was very surprised to see the stuff that Clark was saying under her breath to the cameras, kind of like those shady little remarks that we caught her saying during Casa, because she actually thought Clark was such a nice girl. I think that they still like each other, but she was very disappointed to see and hear the stuff that Clark was saying behind her back, because Olandria even says, like, man, this girl is too nice. I wish she was a mean girl, so I had a reason to not like her. But that Clark was actually very nice. Keke then asks about Amaya and Brian. Did they think that they were endgame? They said yes. They appreciated how he brought a little bit of an insight to Amaya's cultural background, because of the fact that she is Hispanic. Because if we remember correctly, we've talked about this time and time again, when Brian stood up for her, this was before anyone knew that she was America's favorite. So we all appreciated that. And Keke was very also appreciative that he gave a little insight as to our cultural backgrounds as Hispanics. They then go into the whole America Maybelline Burst Your Bubble challenge. They were very all confused. We know that Chelley thought that America hated her. Olandria even thought for a moment, like, is America seeing something that I'm not seeing in Chelley? Like, is this going to jeopardize our friendship? Because they were ranking her so low. So she was like, man, is she talking about me behind my back in these confessionals? And Olandria said that she had to just kind of be straight up and ask the girls, like, what's going on? They were all as confused as they were. And so they were able to work it out. And obviously now looking back, I think a lot that played a part into Chelley ranking so low was, I think, the Hannah dumping and then the Huda fans. Hello. Keke did ask the girls if the Islanders had an opportunity to even ask production, like, why does America think this of me? They said that they are not allowed to ask anything. They are completely cut off from the world. So production did not let them in on any information. She then even asks what their opinion was of Cierra, because if anyone did come across very produced, it was Ace and it was Cierra, because Cierra had ex-Islander friends. We saw Cierra move in a very calculated way. The girls say that they didn't see that part of Cierra. So did they not see it because they were just so close to her? And were they almost kind of also trying to play the game, or they just, Cierra just played them? Because we as viewers saw it, but let me know what you think down below. To finish it off, they play a truth or tea. And this honestly was just so classy. They really gave no tea at all. Not that it was boring, but it just goes to show how graceful and respectful these girls are. So Keke then asks them a rapid fire kind of question sets. And she asks them the first question, who flirted off camera? And these are paraphrased. Who flirted off camera and then was kind of low key about it during the filming? The girls said that nobody kind of felt like they were producing themselves. So they both answered no one. The next question was, who was most performative? We would have thought Ace or Cierra, but again, they answered no one. She then asks them who got the better edit than they deserved. Chelley chose to phone an Islander, so she phoned Ace. Ace also kind of gave a runaround answer. So Keke kind of put two and two together in context clues, and she's like, her Jeremiah. And they both kind of laughed it off. She actually also shared that she loved Jeremiah, and she was so sad to see him go home. I think we all were. People who were seeing it were very kind of just upset that he got the shit end of the stick alongside Hannah in that moment, because now looking back, we got to see Pepe and Iris kind of flourish. So in that moment, we did feel like those two were like the most unjust to go home. Next, she asks them each to answer the top 3 kissers they had in the villa. Obviously, Chelley said Ace, Cierra, and surprisingly Chris. Respectful. They were coupled up during Casa. Top 3 for Olandria was Nick, Ace, and Jeremiah. Wow, Jeremiah sneaking in on that one. Then she asks them if you had to recouple with somebody in the final week, who would it be? They both answered Chris. Then she asks them, do you think that your men had any regrets during Casa? Chelley says Ace did not. He had his exploring time with Vanna and with Coco, but ultimately chose Chelley. Taylor, we all kind of know already that he had no regrets, given that he is still with Clark to this day from what we know of. They left the island together. They have plans to stay together, so we clearly know that these boys had no regrets. The last question that she asks them is, during the Stand on Business challenge, did Huda have a reasonable reason as to why she did what she did with Ace? Chelley says no. Chelley says that she felt that her apology was not even a real apology, given that she said sorry, but then kept saying but, and then still trying to explain herself. Shelley still to this day does not understand her explanation, kind of like we don't understand her explanation with the whole Chris and PDA thing and wanting to be intimate, in bed. Like we said, we got this interview way too early on, right after they got out of the villa. They haven't really heard the Call Her Daddy interview from what I can kind of piece together. So the reunion will definitely be so interesting. But I want to know what you guys think. My son is ready for a nap, so I'm going to let you go with that one. Pop off in the comments section, and we'll catch you guys later. Have a great Tuesday.